Welcome to another recon. This week, stage 4, Douce, France, the team time trial. And this week, it's a recon with a difference. I'm down here at Provision's headquarters in Staffordshire. These guys make custom clothing for indoor or outdoor cycling teams and organisations as well. And also they have a core range, some of which you guys know that you could have won in this week's and last week's competition. And again, the results will follow. But what you can see behind me here, we've got the national champions jerseys of the owner-director Steve Jockin, and actually this is his 1984 winning bike from those national champions as well. So we're in great location for what should be a great recon. You guys may remember we've been running a competition for the last 2 weeks to win these two items, a Provision jersey for outdoor or indoor use, and also one of the indoor training tops that we've got here. This is the motherboard indoor top. I think you guys have seen me rocking this in the past. So we've been running the competition. We've had over 350 entries in the last 2 weeks for this. And I've already selected, we did a random number selector, and I think it's Stefano Porter. I'll leave the details below. Congratulations, Stefano. I'll be in touch, or drop me a message and we'll organise to get this kit out to you as soon as possible. Now, we have got some more competitions coming up in the next couple of weeks. In fact, next week we've got another competition that's going to run for the rest of the season as well. So don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and stay tuned, ready for that next competition. All right, so we're in France, Douce, France, 24.1 kilometers for this. This course was made for team time trialing, 130 meters of elevation throughout. Once you get past the halfway point, it's pan flat and you can drive it all the way to the finish there. Power-ups, I'm going to talk about power-ups, and I think this is the first time that I've spoke about power-ups in terms of a team time trial. I know the WTRL tried the power-ups last week on one of the Thursday nights, and we're going to be having them again on a Tuesday night for the ZRL, so I'm going to cover that and how to use it in the team time trial most effectively. Let's take a look at the course in a bit more detail. All right, so as I said, it's 24.1 kilometers, 136 meters of elevation, and most of that climbing comes in the first half of the race. Quite quickly, as we leave the pens, you can see here that we've got some undulations. There's 3 undulations, each one about 500 meters long, but each one is only 2%. So I do think through these rollers that you can keep your normal team time trial setup. And then we get into the aqueduct com, again, a short, punchy climb. Pick your power for each of your teammates and just hit that for this climb. Maintain that speed as much as possible. And then when we descend off the other side, you can focus on getting back and driving it all the way to the finish. All right, before we get on to course, I want to give you 3 top tips for team time trialing. If this is your first time team time trialing or your first time in Zwift Racing League, just 3 tips to make sure it goes smoothly and you keep your team together throughout the whole course. Tip 1, know your numbers. I utilise a document here from Paul Fitzpatrick. He's the Zwift DS. And this is about understanding your power numbers. It doesn't focus on watts per kilograms, but each rider's specific power. Weight plays such an important role in team time trialing, in particular on a flat course. Heavier riders will roll quicker than lighter riders, so utilize that to your advantage. So I'll leave a link in the description below. All you need to do is enter your rider's details in terms of the watts per kilogram, the power details, and their weight and height, and this document will do the rest for you. Tip 2, utilize the draft wherever possible. I always try and get the front 3 riders to stay in a line in order. So your front rider, of course, number 1. The rider who's going to take the next pull will be second, and so on to third. Anything beyond third wheel, I wouldn't worry too much about keeping in that line. Just make sure you're staying behind those front 3. But ensuring the next rider is ready at wheel 2 will really benefit and help to maintain the speed. At the same time, if you're on the back and taking that recovery, utilize the marker, the distance marker on the top where it counts 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 meters, and then you're out of draft. Making sure that you're always sticking within that 5 meters and utilizing that draft and making the most of your recovery. Third tip is all about communication. If you're not lucky enough to have a DS for the team time trial, make sure you're communicating. Communicating when you're ready to come off the front, and making sure that the second rider, yes, second rider on deck, ready. And then give a shout, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and make that change. Making sure that that next rider is lifting the speed before the rider on the front pulls off and drops to the back. So if you do want some more tips or some more insights into the science of team time trialing, I'll leave a link in one of these corners here for the other videos we've done on the specifics of team time trialing. Now let's get out on course and take a look in a bit more detail. All right, so you're sat in the pens, you're waiting for your team captain to give you a countdown. We're going to leave the pens, take a left, and we're straight out on course. Now in the first 1.5 kilometers, you're going to hit 3 rollers. Each one of these rollers 500 meters long, but with a gradient of just 2%. So first of all, that first kilometer, just make sure you've got all your riders together, set a set power, make sure everyone's there, and then start to roll through in your formation. So the first one of these rollers is going to come up 0.6 of a kilometer. Again, it's 500 meters. And then the next one is 1.6. And then the third roller is 2.6 kilometer mark. Again, I'm going to leave all the information of these distance markers down in the recon notes, which you'll find in the bottom of the description. All right, so from kilometer 3.6 to kilometer 8, you've got many small undulations, but I highlight they are small undulations and they shouldn't really interrupt the rhythm of your team. Then from kilometer 10 is when we're going to think about the aqueduct con. All right, so the aqueduct con, the only real test of this course, kilometer 10.4, it's a 800 meter climb, gradient of 5 to 8%. What I would suggest here is pick a watts per kilogram for your team. So I'm a B rider, our team, I will say, right, we're gonna ride 4.1 for the duration of this 800 meters. Again, just making sure we get everyone over the top of this aqueduct. All right, I really would advise keeping all the riders together. So you're going to go over the top of the aqueduct and descend down the other side. Again, 5 to 8% descent. Utilize this snowball effect. Let the heavier riders roll through, keep pushing on, get that speed back up there. All right, so you've got over the aqueduct at kilometer 12.6 onwards. It is a flat road all the way home. This is the time to really drive those turns, whether you're taking 30, 45 or 60-second turns. Really push. At that 5 kilometer onwards, if you need to drop a rider or a rider needs to drop, don't worry about it. As long as you're getting 4 to the finish, anything under 5 kilometers, if a rider goes, just crack on. Don't wait, push on all the way to the finish. All right, so in terms of bike choice, aero rule today, it's a super flat course, as flat as you're going to see typically in a team time trial on Zwift. So go for the most aero setup you get. As always, I'll leave a link in the description below to the Zwift Insider pages where you can find the most aero setup at your level. Please remember, no time trial bikes because you'll get no draft benefit if you do so. So just the most aero road bike and wheel choice you can get at your level. All right, so in terms of power-ups, you've got the aero, you've got the draft, and you've got the feather. It's going to be really interesting to see how teams utilize these. Remember, if you're utilizing the draft, you do have to be in the draft to get that benefit. So maybe you're getting some extra recovery after a really strong pull, or maybe utilizing the aero on the front. What I will say with these power-ups is communicate. Are you going to use them together? Are riders going to be using them on the front? But again, you don't want to be dropping riders at this point. So communication will be key, and it'll be really interesting to see how these power-ups are used. The only real place really to utilize the feather would be the aqueduct com. So if you're lucky enough that all riders should get this at the same time, then good on you. Keep that speed up, push on hard through the aqueduct. It's all about maintaining speed. All right, so in terms of recon, you've got the Rave Con. This is Sunday. It's 5 p.m. GMT, 12 p.m. I think EST. And this week, the girls at Rave have got Anna Russell. None other than Anna Russell giving an appearance and hopefully giving some inside tips for team time trialing on this particular course, which is Douce, France, in France, stage 4. So as always, guys, thank you for watching the recon. I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up as well. It really does help the channel. And we'll see you next week. We've got some really interesting courses come up next week. I think it's Tower and Temples. We're back in Mercury Islands. That'll be a really interesting one. I've ridden it, I've raced it. I think I get a result at that one. So make sure you come back to watch out for that particular recon. And I'll see you on the roads of France this Tuesday for another ZRL. Ride on.